This is the Thesis Hypothesis version 2. This yo-yo is Thesis' second bimetal offering, which is following the Hypothesis version 1. This yo-yo slowly built a decent amount of hype and desirability, up to the point of selling out at every retailer it was available on, and now it is decently sought after in the buy-sell trade community. In this review, I want to talk about this yo-yo in 6 different categories: material construction, design, playfeel and intent, vibe condition, performance, and my final comments. Let's start with the material construction of this yo-yo. This is a bimetal yo-yo composed of a body machined of 6061 aluminum and stainless steel rings. This particular colorway is blasted, although polished non-blasted versions of this yo-yo exist in other colorways. The blast media used in this yo-yo is comfortable and high quality, and it provides a properly low friction surface, inclining more towards the matte or matte side than the shiny side. Now to talk about the design of this yo-yo. This yo-yo boasts a diameter of 55.9mm, a width of 46.2mm, and a weight of 63.7 grams. These specs do not stray away from the common string trick unresponsive yo-yo, and this put this yo-yo into the wide category definitely. Here are a couple of dimensional comparisons with the Hypothesis version 2 and a shorter wide angle. As you can see, they are very similar in dimensions. However, I am noticing that the wide angle is a hair bigger in diameter and a hair bigger in width, as you can see there. Although the extra width that the wide angle has is actually non-active catch zone, so it really doesn't matter if this yo-yo is a little bit narrow. It's a little narrower than the wide angle, because that extra width the wide angle has is not actually non-active catch zone, so that is extra material that doesn't help you land the string into the yo-yo. This is an outer ring bimetal, meaning that the ring occupies the outermost part of the rim. Something I find interesting about the Hypothesis version 2 is that even when the part of the rim occupies this outer portion, a lot of the rim is actually held inside of the cup. This is important to mention, since this also determines how the rim interface is designed, and also determines a lot of the play feel of this yo-yo. This yo-yo has a profile that I'd qualify as comfortable but optimized. The inflection points near the rim area make it comfortable to hold, and the profile lines are akin to the blocky aesthetic of this yo-yo. This response bump is very nice as well, providing a tiny extra amount of string response separation without it being that intrusive aesthetic and design-wise. The cup is very simplistic, something that I appreciate, and it is just a flat, clean cup. I am really glad Thesis did not ruin this immaculate cup with an engraving. I am a big fan of the aesthetic design of this yo-yo. By observing this cup, I am obligated to further examine and talk about the axle configuration in this yo-yo, which is something I am not a huge fan of. It turns out that this yo-yo uses an 8mm axle, and I am not extremely excited about that, considering this yo-yo is made from a slightly softer 6061 aluminum alloy. I do not hold this against Thesis, and I will concede that the myth of 8mm axles stripping easily on 6061 yo-yos is purely anecdotal, and it is something that has not been proven in any meaningful way to be true. But I have stripped 6061 yo-yos with axles this small in the past, so I personally don't like to see this type of axle length in 6061 yo-yos. I must say that some yo-yo designers will agree that 8mm axles in 6061 yo-yos are perfectly fine, so I do not consider this to be a deal breaker at all, just something to keep in mind. This bearing seat is wonderfully designed, and in conjunction with the blast media used in this yo-yo, it does not render a tight fit for the bearing at all. It is just tight enough to stay in place and loose enough for it to be easily removed with a bearing tool. We do not have traces of bearing seat damage as well upon repeated screwing and unscrewing. This is a sign of good design and quality manufacturing, and overall a good thing to see. Finally, this yo-yo uses a full-size C-bearing and a standard 19mm pads. The ones that come stock with this yo-yo, I am positive that those are wide stock Topio pads, and this is a Topio 5 cut bearing. They have been working wonderfully so far without any issues. Now to talk about the playfeel and intent of this yo-yo. This yo-yo falls into a category that has been gaining a lot of popularity since a couple of years actually, which is what I call a casual competitive yo-yo. This is not by any means a yo-yo that maximizes things like rim weight or stability, which is something you will find often in yo-yos which are designed with the purpose of someone using them in a competition, but instead a yo-yo that offers performance in a more relaxed manner, with the purpose of this being a yo-yo you can use daily for long throw sessions without the tiring feel a one might experience when using a very rim-weighted yo-yo. This yo-yo has a light and confident feel on string, and this yo-yo doesn't really suggest you a fast playstyle, rather than it just hides its power very well and shows it up by taking a demanding trick when you decide to perform one. This yo-yo has a very comfortable throw and a very accommodating acceleration curve when thrown. It has almost no tug at the end of a breakaway. Now to talk about the vibe condition of this yo-yo. I am very happy to report that this yo-yo does not present any vibe conditions that hinder playability in the slightest. Now to talk about the performance of this yo-yo. For general trick performance and binds, this yo-yo lands lightly on the string and it takes little to no effort to move it from formation to formation. Despite it being considerably wide, it stays within the boundaries of most tech mounts and tricks. The 4.55mm gap is a common feature in modern designs, and it will take normal and fat string with ease, with a preference towards fat string. This gap width has a standard string layer performance, which is quite good by modern expectations. I have no tech trick so dense that this yo-yo wasn't comfortable handling. This yo-yo binds confidently, and I personally find that fat string yields the tightest binds that do not mess with the yo-yo snagging on tricks. Now about grind performance. This yo-yo performs grinds acceptably well. The blast media used works wonders. However, this yo-yo does not have a profile that outstands in any way for grinds, like something with a bigger response bump would. Talon grinds are affected by the way the stainless steel ring is fitted into the aluminum body, but they last enough to pull most Talon grind binds you would want to do. Now to talk about regens. This yo-yo does not do you any favors when it comes to regens. It regens as good as your technique allows it to. Since the profile it sports does not provide any rounded surfaces near the response area, you get no aid for regens from this yo-yo. However, you can regen any yo-yo, so if you have been practicing, regens on this yo-yo should not be a problem at all. Now about stressing tricks. If you push it, this yo-yo facilitates going fast in a very easy manner. I find that when doing faster combos, you don't feel it hitting the strings very hard, which is good for fast transitions without that much effort. However, I find that this yo-yo does not suggest you a fast play style anyway. It handles mid-level arm combos easily as well, and I'd say if you do not favor a playstyle that exerts massive amounts of stress on your yo-yos, this yo-yo shouldn't feel any hard to use in any case. This review is not going to be integral, however, because my current skill set does not let me evaluate this yo-yo's horizontal performance. Now to talk about the catchability of this yo-yo. I am very happy to inform that all the extension of this yo-yo's width is active catch zone. That's a whole 46.2mm of yo-yo that will help you up your consistency in catching the yo-yo or landing any slacks. I definitely categorize this yo-yo as particularly wide. Now for fingerspins. This yo-yo's fingerspin capabilities are unknown to me, mainly because I refuse to test them. Now for my final comments. Overall, I am pleasantly surprised with this yo-yo. I do have one comment about it though. I noticed this yo-yo has a bit of a sharp catch sometimes. This is nothing to worry about during a standard throwing and binding, but more so in a situation where you could be performing a moderately paced trick, then proceed to miss a step or an element, and then the yo-yo hits the back of your hand with its rims. That is not going to feel as comfortable with this yo-yo in particular. I doubt this yo-yo will ever reach the point of cutting you even on a bad hit, since Thesis properly filleted those rims when designing this, but the Yoyo still can feel sharp on some instances. If you are someone who values hand and trick comfort over anything else, this is something to take into consideration. And that's all I got for you today. This has been my review of the Thesis Hypothesis version 2. Thank you so much for watching.